Hi, my name is John Gregory Ortiz. Today is the 16th of September 2019. I am coming here today on my own free will with information that I have about the Lawlers in Shreveport, where I worked for 16 years, roughly 15 years, 8 months. And I previously spoke with an attorney about this, and he advised me to cover myself. So I'm here today to tell my story. Part of it, because I can't remember everything, although I've got digital backups of all of what I've done for 16 years. I got the hard drives, I got additional discs, and they're in different places. I did pre-accounting, so to speak. Speaking of accounting, I cooked the books. Over the years, when he needed loans, multi-million-dollar loans, a credit increase and stuff, I would show more income than what was actually there. And then, thing for me personal, it was strictly for them from buying his wife dope. Which if I didn't do that, then I was going to catch hell because she wouldn't give him blowjobs. And he had her busted. That's a fake drug bust, but he can't control his own wife. Her only leverage is sex, and I never seen people spend 300 grand a year or more, upwards of that, and more. They take it out of the company, so they're not paying taxes on this money. They're writing this money off and spending the shit out of it, and this big shot stuff. He never was specifically tell me which one he was doing, but he had it on his nose, powder on his nose, and we all. Ken went to rehab I had to go to rehab for Xanax. I had to get on Xanax to put up with this motherfucker. And I'm like, I need my job because I'm in debt. I went to work for Joe as a part-time job, even though I had David's other two companies, and the third company was Lawler Investments, which double wise we were flipping. That's some dogs until one needs the help. In other words, if they're fucking over somebody, like a judge or someone that they got in the newspaper and they want to bribe him and get some kind of way, it's going to be money is the tail end of it. Either revenge or money, because they got this thing about fucking with people's lives because they can. Like I was saying earlier, I went to work for Joe, and Joe taught him this. This is per his daughter. Tammy and I dated for about 6 months. And then I was told either break it up or I was going to get fired. That's what she knew on them is what the reason was. Yeah, well, they locked her up in a rehab against her will. They forced this. Now they planned that in the office. I know Joe's dead now, but Joe promised me I would have this income from his rental properties. Now what they were, he used them as a source of sex. Most of them were dope heads. The tenants in and had people paying on a regular basis, and accurate books for him. And I know we went up to the house one time. David took, I think it was $140,000 out of the house. And then another time they had $80,000. Last time they had $80,000 they took out of the house. They wanted Joe to have it. They got it. Some girl filmed him for, hey, I took my Viagra. And another one that knew that, I evicted her. I put the eviction on her myself. At the time, that was the last thing I did working for Joe's company, so to speak. And that money meant my house. And Joe knew that. And Joe had told me he was going to give me $80,000. And David stopped him. And David gave me a raise, a good raise. And he said it'd be coming regularly. I was promised all kinds of stuff that I grew up old school. A handshake means something. Right. We were friendly. When you shake your hand on something, goddamn it, you kept your word. Well, that's all you had, integrity. But not looking in the eye and lying to you. They waited till I was in debt and couldn't move. Because prior to me buying that house, they had nothing. I mean, what I was making paid anything I needed. So, but I needed that income that I cut back on everything. But he still paid my hunting. And give me a place to hunt. That's like paying. He deliberately cut lines, like AT&T, cable lines, etc. Phone lines, gas lines. He deliberately cut them. So he would not stop his progress. And he did that for years. And I would fight him on the phone with the insurance company wanting to pay him and stuff. We had a lawyer, Jeff Little, in Shreveport, and his job was to just string them along and then settle for pennies on the dollar. Well, he got fined by the state police, and Edmondson was the head of the state police. Edmondson put a fine on him. Well, I took cash twice to a local senator, $2,000. All right, and I took an additional bag of cash down there. It came out of Deer Creek. Deer Creek, there's a lot of cash in it. They use that. When he needs it, they use the cash out of it, and they don't, it looked like it had a subpar month. The books were accurate. My books, when I kept the copy, because I knew they was going to accuse me. I got nothing out of here. You didn't tell me. And they use, he'll use like a piece of equipment rented by Deer Creek. He ain't rent shit. Any young, for taxes and stuff. I applied for money for a drought against the USDA, against the new ranch, for the new ranch, not against it. And there was no freaking drought. Ranch is in Texas, East Texas. It's a Jefferson address, but it's before you get to the port. Way back, it's like, shit, 2 miles off the road. Big, fancy place. I know how he got it, because I cooked the books. If not, he couldn't afford it. If they knew the truth, he couldn't afford it. He didn't pay us bills. We never paid fucking bills, people. We never paid bills. We screwed people constantly until they finally gave up, or pay a little bit, drag it out. Sometimes we'd have to, because we had to use them. Vendors, you gotta have rental equipment, you gotta have stuff to repair them, parts. It went on constantly. I think, as far as I know, he's still cutting lines. Hell, Willie Smith, one of his operators, I think it's Natchitoches. I can find out exactly. He took up over 2 miles of telephone line belonging to AT&T and was going to sell it. David got pissed, fired him, and then rehired him the next morning and realized, hell, if he says something, I'm fucked. He stole it. They stole the damn copper. All right, inspector. So, it was an inspector in Bossier City used to bribe too. The briberies came in on that. He always get cash out of Deer Creek for this. He was stuff, I say it's small. What stuff? I know what they discussed in the office now and then, and it was usually in bragging mode or beginning stages. And then I never got full details other than the fact that they were fucking somebody and they're going to ruin their life because that's their game. They like that. Why? I mean, I got a bad thing to do. Oh, yeah. Arsenal. Blanchard, I spanked my daughter's butt going out, sneaking out of the house. I spanked her a little butt. And I got charged. And they had to get a lawyer. I was going to sue Blanchard. And David had me tell Presswood that I wasn't going to sue so he could buy new equipment. That if I hit him for a lawsuit, and it was, they falsified reports, they did everything. It was bullshit. And it was so obvious, the judge threw it out and chewed out the guy that was prosecuting it. Chewed his ass out, chewed the cop's ass out. My lawyer, he's a piece of shit, cover my ass, because if they ever had an investigation on these sentences, I'm going down. It's part of it. That's why I want to come out and get my story and clear it out. And there's going to be a whole lot more in my head. Illegals. He has an injury working for Lawler is a piece of shit. Automatically. We have lost some of the best supervisors and good people. I mean, good people, hard working, bust their fucking ass, give him their 110% and even kiss his ass. And it's not good enough. These fucking Mexicans rule. The tens of thousands he sent over the overseas, over the border is ridiculous. And I know some of these Mexicans were bribing insurance fraud, where we had this 30-inch pipe going into Blanchard, holes in it, and he collected on insurance. He just put the insurance on it a month beforehand. That's through the Radcliffe 21. We've housed them in illegals. Yeah, not all of them, but that around 2005, and it progressed further and further and further until he got, hell, ain't none of them legal at all. I don't believe. If they're not illegal, he don't want nothing to do with them. White man can't work on him. Yeah. But anybody injured, like, I got a metal neck. Right? He didn't even call me in the hospital, how you doing, Greg, nothing like that. Dwayne had an injury. He's a piece of shit. I want him fired. Tim, another one, injured. I want him fired. He also become a piece of shit. And anything you do after that fact is, anyway, the Mexicans ran the whores out of 21. Atkins would go there. His best friend, kiss ass, James Atkins, $8 for 20 minutes. And these little girls, I was thinking one of them, oh shit, she ain't 10. And so they run these little slaves. I'm sure they're little slaves. And I don't know nothing to do with some Deer Creek. I clean this fucking place up, and you're gonna bring this shit back in here. And we get into it. It was going on before I got there because he had, right when I started there, right before I started there, Compton would supply the drugs. David would give the drugs to the little 12-year-old girl. And anyway, statutory rape. David just makes his, he about to pull his fucking hair out. Nervous, in and out, drinking over it, you know. Is in the safe, where's the motherfucking file at? I ain't touched it, it's right there. The guy did, I think, 5 years in prison. David got off because Joe paid off the girl. I know she got a new Camaro out of it, and I want to say 100,000, but it might be more. I didn't like the, we didn't collect rent off the illegals. David said he collects the rent off them. So he handled the Mexicans. When they sped through the park, I tell him he slowed this motherfucker down. Yeah, I collected rent for years.
So it was all
60% of better cash.
So
Deer Creek, for a couple of years there, 3-4 years there, he kept Deer Creek clean. He didn't take much out of it. He took some, but he didn't take much out of it. He had at times hit it pretty hard, pretty fucking good. But he kept Deer Creek clean to get the credit rating up and build it at mine systems. You gotta have the credit. You gotta have the credit. You gotta do it. That was the murder. That's where Alma, they put it as a suicide. That's when I was told, you shut the fuck up by the Presswood, and David didn't say shut the fuck up. You need to let it go. It don't matter. She's just a whole fuck niggas in all city. Let it go. Not all city. Morningsville. Anyway, they put the gun to her mouth. They described how they was gonna do this to me. I'm gonna put the gun in your mouth. I'm gonna shoot you, bitch, and I'm gonna mount you on the fucking. So I know the guys that did it. A week later, had his ex-wife there. 1 week later. Now we got a deputy living next door. This deputy is about a piece of shit. He gave Ricky weed joint and bust him if he didn't give him his crack holes. Ricky had a couple of little crack holes there. And Brian Anderson, I got charged with DWI. Brian, I was off the road completely, and they charged me with DWI. And I was so fucked. I was giving Rohypnol. I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing. But he's a deputy, and he's also a judge. Now, he's a judge, a justice of the. He's collecting money. I would imagine they all got rental property.
All right. Yeah. He owns.
But if they signed my contract, it was pretty cut and dry. I wouldn't sign that damn thing. He paid me. You're gonna get screwed. So yeah, where we go? Prostitution, whole rape, murder. I didn't pay off no judge. I don't know about that.
Okay. What center?
On them hunting trips. That's fun. We did more fucking than shooting guns.